Hey, what's up, y'all? I have Jason Lemasters here. He's been a member of Blue Springs Fitness for almost a year now, and we're just gonna kind of have like a little discussion. He started his fitness journey a little less than a year ago, almost a year now. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about what has transpired in his life and what was the initial thing that got him to the point where he is now, and all the things that came along with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and let him speak for a moment and tell you a little bit about himself.
Thanks, Kurt. My name is Jason Lemasters. I've been coming to Blue Springs Fitness since August 2018, I'd always had a background of obesity in my life. I used to weigh about 323, I believe, is the last time that I checked the scale before coming in to the gym in August. And so I don't necessarily know what my starting weight was, but started in August, and it was a result of my ex-wife and I had separated. And so it was kind of a wake-up call, if you will. I had two directions to go, and one was to either go down this road that I'd already been down, a road of depression, a road of just overeating and being very unhealthy, or try to turn what was a very tumultuous, and still is to a degree, dark time in my life around, and put some effort and emphasis into myself, and trying to develop some sort of health, and in doing so, there's just been a lot of changes, a lot of things. And I've been watching your videos, and I know I've talked to you during my time here. You've always been very approachable. I could ask questions, and from what I've seen in your videos, I felt like maybe there are some people out there who may have not necessarily a similar story as mine, but there's some stuff there, and you really don't know what to do, and maybe you're struggling. And I can just say that going through this journey has changed my outlook, so to speak, and really the mental part of it is huge. And I think that that's kind of what you're speaking to with this channel. It's not only about health and fitness, but also speaking a little bit about life and getting real with people.
Right.
And that's kind of where I wanted to kind of step up and maybe share a little bit about what I've been through. So.
Well, Jason has, just so you guys know, that he reached out to me because he is my friend on Facebook. So before I even created this YouTube channel, he had been following some of my stuff. I do try to place, a lot of inspirational, motivational stuff out there. And he sat down and said that he wanted to share his story with the world. He wanted to speak to y'all and kind of, he wants to be a part of lifting people up, inspiring people, because he's at a very rough time in his life. He's not through it yet, and I think just like when he came to me, he's like, I think it's a good time for me to tell my story, because I feel like I can identify with some people that are going through some things right now, and that's not just through we talked a little bit about the psychological stuff, but as far as this fitness journey, there's even stuff that has some depth to it when it comes to that as well, as far as how much weight he's lost, and the resulting what do you want to say, the skin, extra skin that came from it.
That's with it. I mean, there are a lot of everybody thinks, okay, I'm gonna lose this weight, and you can definitely do it. It's very attainable. But once you actually get there, you need to be prepared for what you're actually going to have at that point in time, and you need to, kind of retrain your brain. If you're someone like myself, which I think a lot of people maybe that come through your doors and that go to other, gyms out there. I mean, they start out at a very high body weight, like myself. 330 pounds at 6'1", 6'2" on a good day. When you do lose 100 pounds, which I have, you're not going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? And you can definitely continue to go and go at it as hard as you can and train and train and train, but you've done damage to your body,
right?
And that damage manifests itself in loose skin, and it is what it is. But I'm kind of retraining myself to identify that those are my, that's my work.
That's success. Even though to you, even from a visual standpoint, and he's even discussed about now, because I follow him on Facebook, is being comfortable with the pool and taking his shirt off, and because that that identifies him and his success in his weight loss journey. So, but I think we should backtrack and go through what got you here,
okay.
and then we can go through all that stuff as far as the extra
Yeah.
skin and dealing with all the emotional stuff
Right.
that comes along with that.
Right.
But so tell everybody a little bit about where, kind of like the beginning, the catalyst to all this, and the psychological process of it.
So, as I said, I separated from my wife, and that's been the absolute worst thing that could have ever, transpired. I haven't, lost a child by any means, or lost my mom or my dad yet, and I know that those are traumatic experiences that people have. But if you know somebody that's been through a divorce, or if you know somebody that's had a number of years. My wife and I were married for 10 years and together for 14. We have 3 children together. So waking up alone after that transpired, in and of itself, was a very a huge task. I mean, you might as well have told me to climb Mount Everest on some days. And I'm not saying this to my credit, but at the same time, I had a job, and I still do have 3 kids that I can't see all the time, and I still do, need to perform responsibilities and try to make money and pay bills and be a productive member of society, all the while.
That's right.
I've lost my best friend.
Yep.
I've lost a woman that she was just my world, and that was the beginning of it, because I needed something, and one of the things that I heard along just my road in life was, anytime you're in a situation, the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again, right, expecting different results. And anytime adversity had hit me before this, I would quit. And that's where I started walking through these doors. I felt like if I quit, I was going to die.
Right.
My 330, I could have easily turned into 400, inside of the next few months, just basically giving up on life. And for those of you out there that are watching this, I mean, that's what it is. Like, you want to quit. You look at whatever situation that you're in and you want to stop. You just want to lay down and not do anything. But I've been down that road before. That road ultimately probably led me to where I was.
Right.
And so I started walking through the doors, and I just did. And every day that I did, I felt a little better. It may have only been for a few minutes, but you know what? After I accomplished whatever workout I was doing, I felt better. And it was, I used used it as that time to kind of not necessarily get away from what was going on, but to start seeing that progress was possible and health was possible and new good things could come out of the worst possible thing imaginable. And it's not easy. I mean, it's not, I don't know what you're going through out there, but there are going to be days that you get up. I mean, there are numerous days. Even last week, there was a day where I woke up and it took me a 15-minute conversation with myself to say, no, do it, get up, go do it. And I think that that's what I want to kind of convey is, and you and I have talked about this,
yes, sir.
It's those little decisions that we make when, we have two different, directions to go, or two different choices. It's the little ones. It's the one that says, I'm going to go work out, or maybe I'm going to eat this instead of that, or maybe I'm not going to do this instead of that, that eventually add up to those big deals, those big, if somebody would have told me the day that my wife and I separated, that 10 months down the road that I would look the way that I do now, and don't get me wrong, I don't think that I'm like the epitome of like health and fitness, but I don't look bad.
You came a long ways.
On his Blue Springs Fitness page, there's before and after pictures of me if you want to check that out on the Facebook. But I have come a long way, and if somebody would have told me that after just being in that moment, I would have thought they were crazy.
Yeah.
So I guess that's just where I'm at. That I want to let everyone know that you're not alone. That we all are in this thing called life together, and we're all trying to, whether you're either coming into a storm, in the middle of a storm, or coming out of a storm. I mean, every single person that you encounter has their own stuff.
That's right.
And I think that sharing it, I think it takes away a little bit of the power behind it. I think it takes a little bit of away of that, that it just presses down on you.
Right.
And I think getting it out there and being vulnerable with people.
Yeah.
I mean, I walked into your office and was very, very vulnerable, but I was just like, you know what? I think what you're doing is awesome. I think letting people know, yeah, it's life is not easy, and trying to become healthy is not easy. Putting yourself through discipline every single day is not easy. If it was, everybody would be doing it. So, I want people to know that there are people just like you that are waking up and going, oh, I can't do it today.
Yeah.
But when you wake up and you feel that way, you need to remember that there are other people that are doing it, and reach out to somebody that's trying to help people out and talk to them and share it. Don't keep it.
Yeah.
You're not fighting alone.
You're not fighting alone. And me and Jason had a really long talk that day in my office, and there's so much depth, and that's hard to condense this into this video, but there's a lot of depth to this, and I have my story too, and most of you don't know it. Jason knows it now, but I went through all those same cycles. Mine was from a totally different perspective though. I was actually at the pinnacle of my bodybuilding career, and my weight loss occurred, but it wasn't, I didn't want to lose weight. Regardless, I think it's hard for us to speak to everybody, but the fact of the matter is there's a lot of divorces that take place, and especially today, and it's the equivalent of burying your spouse.
Yeah.
And that is very, very, very traumatic. Now, I've worked through all that. It's been years for me, but Jason's still in the middle of it. And I think the there's so many points in this, but some of the main things is that, we didn't want to take this too many different directions, but there's a lot of psychological, there's fitness, there's all this other stuff. But when your life is out of control, and let's face it, your life is out of control when you're in the middle of a divorce, your head is spinning, you don't know what's going on, and there is nothing you can do to stop it. Nothing. I don't care how hard you try, you're not going to stop it. But this man, in retrospect, but at the time he didn't probably even realize it, that he walked in these doors because he knew he had to take care of himself. But the truth of the matter was, he was controlling the one thing he had control over, and that was himself. Right? So he can control what he eats. He can control taking care of his body. He can control, those are things that he can control. All these outside forces are out of his control. It's out of your control. It's out of my control, and that is not going to change. And that's a huge part of and then you get into the community, like Jason said, that is my goal, was to create a community. It doesn't matter if it's online, but there's people out there hurting. There's people out there going through hard times that need encouragement. They need to be lifted up. They need some positivity in their life, because we see enough negativity out there that we don't need any more of it. So, and I'm not trying to take away from Jason. I'm just trying to hit on all these points that are hidden in this message that me and him have discussed in my office. And it's very powerful. And his whole goal and his whole point of reaching out to me to do this was to encourage others, because he's hurting right now. You have to understand, people, that he's not through his storm. Okay, he's right in the middle of it, but he's still doing what he can to control his mental state, his physical state, and all that stuff isn't related, and that stuff he has control over right now, because everything else is going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, and I think that's the easiest and the hardest lesson to learn, maybe just in life in general, is you really can only control one thing, and that's you. That's it. And knowing how to do that and accept that the other variables are coming and you can't do shit about them.
Nothing.
You're predicated to your environment and what's going to happen. I mean, don't get me wrong, I feel like you can take steps and do things, but there are just degrees of life that do not allow for any kind of preparation.
Yep.
And no matter how you feel you are not necessarily ready, but giving up that control, or trying to control the external variables and controlling this one.
Right.
I mean, that's just it. That's it. That's the one thing that if going through it right now, that would be my advice.
Yeah.
Is to just take a hold of yourself and do what you can to help yourself, and that in turn is what I'm trying to do here by reaching out to them. And that's helping me.
Right.
Because if somebody out there listens to this and is like, okay, like, I'll do that, like, and they keep going one more day.
Yep.
Like,
even today, when they see this,
one more day.
Yep.
I mean, because that's it.
That's it.
We have one day to live every day.
Every day.
And going one more day, and then going another day. And that's what perpetuates.
That's right.
And I think that's what I would try to convey out there. So
it breaks my heart to see this man going through this, but I feel encouraged with the fact that I can be a part of it too, and that's we want you all involved with everything, and that's another part of this is, he's saying you're not in this alone, you're not fighting alone, you're not the only one hurting, but we can get through this shit together.
Yeah.
Because even though we can only control ourselves, we still need other humans, and I guess we don't need, I think that's the wrong word, because I hate the word need. We don't need other humans, but it's nice to have other humans that we can identify with and just lean on. Life's a bitch, man. It's hard, and a lot of us fight those struggles alone.
I mean, and I think that that's another aspect of this is I've been a very, I guess, I haven't been very open, I've been very closed off to the world as far as just being able to speak and what have you, but I felt kind of compelled. You know, I'd seen Kurt and talked to him, you know, through the gym, you know, a handful of times, but we hadn't really had a conversation until I reached out, and I was just like, hey, I was like, this is what I'm going through. I don't know if I don't know if this pertains, but it seems like that this is exactly where you're wanting to, like, you know, talk to people, and I think people do. I think people are there. You may not see it, you may not feel it, but they might be at your local gym, or it might be that person at work, or it might be, you know, that person at your church, or it could be somebody at the grocery store.
Yep.
I mean, you never know. But I think that more often than not, we're a lot similar than we are different. Like, we're all struggling with something.
And we need to be vulnerable, like you said.
Yeah.
We need to be vulnerable to that, because if we can open our mind to be vulnerable to it, then something beautiful could potentially come out of that, and some strength and some hope and some encouragement that could come out of it. So not to drag this on, so let's talk about, so now you have all the psychological, now we're going to go to a totally different subject, but now so he's lost 100 plus.
Yeah,
And
shade over 100.
Okay, so 100 plus pounds is a lot of weight. Some of you probably don't even weigh that. And so now he has some loose skin and stuff that he's dealing with. So now this man has, again, taken control of what he can control, which is his health and his fitness, and taking care of his body, and having, and I get lost on a tangent on that, self-love, self-care, you know, all the psychological stuff that comes with that. We're not even going to go there, because that's another hour discussion. But the loose skin. Now, so here's a man who's already hurting, and then he's real proud of himself for losing 100 plus pounds, and now he has loose skin, which, like we said, that is a victory to him, because at first it wasn't. But I saw his post, and it was a psychological change. It was a mental change in his mind, on his perception, and the way he viewed it. So you hear me talk a lot about that. Is our minds, we hear that same adage that, you know, we're our own worst enemy. That's 1,000% true.
Yeah.
It's 1,000% true.
100%.
But we control that. Again, these things that we
Right.
control our mind. You control which direction your mind goes. Jason could either lay in bed, or he could get up and go to the gym. He controlled it. He changed his mindset, and now he's got all these other things. So now he, you know, has all this loose skin from you know, all the hard work that he's put in. And now he's had to change his mindset on that, because, you know, the typical person, which me and him talked about, which I'm sure he's going to discuss, would be like, you know what, screw this. I lost all this weight. I don't like the way I look. I might as well just gain the weight back. And instead of succumbing to that and being defeated by that, he changed his perception of it, which is by all means a victory. But you have to see it as a victory, because when you look in the mirror, at first it's not going to be that way. So if you want to discuss that a little bit, because I know there's people out there that are facing this too.
Yeah. I don't know where exactly the elasticity scale is as far as like skin goes, and if you're trying to, you know, drop 20 pounds, it's probably going to be a lot less of a degree than somebody like myself who's had over 100. I don't know where exactly the line is to where you're going to have loose skin, but probably everybody, I would think, that, you know, loses 50 plus is probably going to have some issue with it. And you know, it is. Whenever I look in the mirror, you know, I mean, and even if you guys can see this right here, you know, I can flex my pectoral muscle, and if I were a normal guy, like this is it. It would be like, it would be, you know, absolutely normal. But I mean, as you can see, like there's this skin underneath it that I'm not necessarily going to be able to do anything about, other than you know, possibly have an invasive surgery that's going to require me to be out of the gym for a month and cost a lot of money, you know, cosmetically. Insurance won't cover it if you're out there and you've actually looked into this, you know. So what I had to, you know, to do especially coming into summer. I mean, we're in the middle of June right now with 90 degrees. I love the water. I've always loved the water. But at the same time, I mean, I can remember for the last, I don't know how many years, I would never even approach the subject of going to a pool party or going on a float trip or just, anytime there was ever going to be somewhere where I had to take off my shirt. It just wasn't going to happen, regardless of being, heavier or being at the weight I am now. I just wasn't going to do it. And one thing that I can say that has come through this whole experience is I remember waking up at 5:30 every day. I remember, drinking my ACV that tastes like the nastiest thing on the planet, every day. I remember taking, the supplements or whatever I was taking, protein. I remember, being on a regimented diet. I remember eating, broccoli and eggs and salmon and all the things that were going to benefit my body. And I remember being in the gym each and every single one of those days. And that's what led me to look the way that I do now and to feel the way I do now. And probably the feeling is probably more of where I think the mental shift is. I couldn't run before. I can run faster than my kids now. I couldn't before.
That's awesome.
And my son plays baseball, and I can run with him, and I can do drills with him to get his speed up so that he can go to get to first base faster. I can run and play soccer with them. If I want to, if I'm having a shitty day and I want to, I can just pick up my phone, put my pods in, and I can go for a run and literally run for however long I need to get the shit out of my head.
Right.
And that's what I can do now. And so, yeah, I don't look like the cover of whatever muscle magazine or fitness or whatever you have there, but when you talk about the word fitness, what does that mean? Well, I'm fit. I am fit to do whatever I need to do for my children and for myself. And so I said this year, yeah, somebody invites me to a pool party, I'm going. And I will take off my shirt. And if I get some stares, I get some stares. And if somebody wants to come up to me to talk to me about it, I'm glad to talk about it, because I guess what? Having discipline and doing what you're doing, there's not a lot of people that can really actually say that they've done that and will continue to do that, because it is a state of mind. And I will get a little cocky about that.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because unless you've been through it, you don't know. And unless you've actually done the blood, sweat, and the tears, in the gym for 5 days out of the week for, I don't know, we're going on 10 months now. So what is that? 10 months, about 42 weeks, 5 days a week on a regimented diet on, who does that? Only somebody that's got some discipline, only somebody that's got the ability to change that mindset. And so if you're out there and you're doing it, kudos to you, and embrace it. Just embrace it. And if you see skin, good. You should.
That's right.
That's what it means. That means that you are doing work. And anybody else that's gonna say anything against that, screw them.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, screw them. Like, and put it to them like that. Because the people that are gonna be in your life, the people that are gonna applaud you and cheer you on, those are the people you wanna be surrounded by. And I don't come into this gym thinking everybody's looking at me like I'm weird. Like, I come into this gym and everybody tells me that, man, you're looking great, you're doing well. What are you doing today? How's this going? I get people that talk to me now, and that actually, like, they give it me.
Right.
And that's what I think maybe the gym community has got this stigma, but no, the same guy that's in there that's putting up 325 for reps or whatever, he's doing something, and he's been doing something,
right.
And he can relate to what you're doing. We're all doing something. So I would just, I mean, just embrace it. Just embrace where you're at, embrace what you have, and then do with it what you want to do with it. I can swim. I can go and take my shirt off, and I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I really don't. That's I can go and I can run. I can go and I can do whatever I need to do with my kids. So no, like, I'm not going to let my skin or what I look like take that away from me, and you shouldn't either.
There's so much power in that. I don't know if you all are paying attention, but you can hear and see the passion in him. And that, Jason, I don't know if you see it, but I see it because I'm big on the mental game, is that's your strength. This whole journey of his, you have to understand where he started and where he is now. That is strength. He has so much more self-confidence, and he has strength in himself and belief in himself, and nobody can take that away from him. It doesn't matter who attacks him from what angle. Nobody can take that away from him. So he's absolutely right. I have not walked in his shoes. I have no idea. Everybody knows that I look different, okay? But it's not about a look. That's what he's trying to say. It's about an inward feeling of yourself, and also the daily activities of being able to do stuff with his kids that he could never do, and the self-confidence that comes from everything that is a result of his hard work. So he has changed in a very shitty time in his life, his complete mind frame of everything. It's not just getting through the divorce. It's not just getting through the hard days. It's transpired into way, way more than that.
Yeah.
And there's so much power in that. And I think the biggest thing that he wanted to relay to people, which of course is what I want to relay to people, is your mental game is strong, but it's up to you to do it.
Yeah.
And once you do it, and the confidence grows, as the passion that you saw in this man as he is speaking about his weight loss, I don't need to say anything else. You saw it. I mean, this is not edited. This is real.
No.
This is the first take, and that was true passion right there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it all, you know, and you and I have talked about this. Anything that you're going to do in life, regardless of whether it's just losing weight's awesome. Like, but once there comes a point where you don't need to lose any more weight, and so then it's about, you know, where you're going, what's your focus on from that. And if I focused on my extra skin, I am doomed. I am doomed. So I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on what's the next step. Where am I going to go from here? What am I going to do with my new body? What am I going to do with what I've achieved in order to continually reward myself for my hard work? And if you need somebody to help you with that, find somebody like Kurt. Find somebody that's in your gym. Find somebody that's working on something in your job or whatever it is to keep yourself moving forward. That's what you have to do, is reward yourself for the hard work that you put in my opinion.
absolutely. So, case in point, we're gonna wrap this up. But listen, you guys. We would like for you to comment, you know, and reach out to us, and you know, because we do want to help encourage people. That's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
And your mental game is strong, I promise you. And you know, if you don't feel strong right now, reach out to us, and we can't do the work for you. But me and him, you know, I'm in a different place in life, but I've been through my own journey and my own hell. So, you know. Let other, like he said, and like we already discussed, let other people help you. And Jason, I just want to appreciate you, man, for being vulnerable and being, you know, and having the balls to come out here and tell your story, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.